Imagine laying in the hospital bed after you've been in a tragic car accident. The doctor tells the previous nurse, refill the IV, and mumbles something else as he's walking out the door. She heard the first part of the directions, but not the last. The nurse did not believe she could speak up and ask her supervisor what he said. The oncoming nurse was not informed all the information that was given, and your heart stops for 60 seconds. Successful communication has three major components. It has a sender, a receiver, and a message. Communication in the workplace is a big component on having a successful business. It is important to have a helpful and approachable atmosphere in the workplace. It helps to increase the efficiency and output, which leads to a successful business. Some things that can hold back effective communication is sarcasm, gossip, throwing tantrums, or not believing that you can speak up or your voice be heard. Communication in the nursing profession is very important. The practicing of nursing exploits constant communication between the nurse and the patient's family, the nurse and her co-workers, her supervisors, and many more. Mary Ann Gordon writes an article, Speak Up, Being Heard, Registered Nurses, Perceptions of the Workplace Communication. It's about nurses exploring their perception of their own ability to speak up and be heard in the workplace. Nurses are essential. Nurses are sorry. I'm gonna start over. Nurses are essential to patients' care and patients' safety in the hospital. Their ability to speak up and be heard impacts their work satisfaction, teamwork, and also patients' care. Patient safety can be compromised when a nurse does not believe that she could speak up or her voice be heard. The United States Institute of Medicine linked patient safety to be need for changes in nurse work environments, improved relationships with physicians, and the importance for even the lowest member of the team being able to voice their concerns or opinions. Workplace communication issues include abusive interpersonal communication and the lack of interprofession collaboration. Those have been shown to negatively influence nursing jobs, satisfaction, and intent to stay in their position. Leaders have recognized that positive work environments that foster open communication need to achieve in order to attract and retain the best nurses to assure quality care. Communication issues not only impact nurses and patients, but it impacts the whole organization as a whole. If something goes wrong in one part of the hospital, then it goes wrong everywhere, and everyone, the organization as a whole, is falling down together. When workers are silent, issues may not be brought to the open, and leaders are less able to address organizational problems that affect the ability of the organization to function. The purpose of Marianne's study was to explore the awareness of staffed registered nurses and managers about nursing being able to speak up and their voice being heard. The study was conducted in the summer of 2009. The results were categorized into three categories: influences on speaking up, transmissions and reception of the message, and the outcomes of the results. The first category is The the influence on the nurses, decisions to speak up. Well, those fell into two broad areas, which are personal and organizational influences. Personal influences include culture background, values, like how they were brought up, language, and education. And organizational influences are like your peers, administrators, managers, and etc. Um, the second category is transmission and receptions of a message. Strong emotions like, say, anger or passion often put communication down. It's all how the message was being sent. Staff nurses also felt like their message were ignored because of the emotion around it, which that further omitted them or discounted their concerns. The third and last category was the outcomes and results. Staff nurses wanted to know that they wanted to know that their issues were being brought up and acted upon. Several expressed their feelings as nothing's ever going to change, leading them to believe that it was just a waste of time to continue to bring up issues. In conclusion of this whole article, the present study identified that influences on nurse speaking up in the workplace as well as the messages and the outcomes. Nurses are first-line caregivers, so we need them to be able to speak up in the workplace and discuss their concerns if they have any. The nurses in the study showed that nurses can find their voice, but also it's important for the managers and the administrators to create a culture where they feel like they're allowed to talk and their opinions being heard. The most powerful influence on nursing speaking up is nurse managers. Thank you. I stutter so much.